Hey, everybody. An absolute privilege to be here. So, have you ever felt that you are perhaps luckier or more privileged than somebody you came across in your life? Awesome. Yeah. Have you felt that you had something or got an opportunity that somebody else did not get? Amazing. Right? For me, that was my schooling. So I went to a boys' school in Kerala, had an absolute beautiful time, had access to an excellent education. Anybody wants to identify where I am on this? Oh, yeah, great, yeah, go for it. If you thought I'm second from the right, you're right, okay? I just changed my hairstyle a little bit over the last 10 years. But growing up in a boys' school, sport was the way of life, right? I absolutely loved football. And this was our football team. Yeah? All those who are trying to identify my face, the secret is I'm not there because I wasn't that great. This is my reality, right? Me rolling on the ground after getting nutmegged by my best friend. And as schooling progressed, I went into the NCC. I was volunteering a lot of time to build teams to compete in inter-school extracurricular activities, take up various leadership roles inside the school. And this kind of took me away from football. And in 2010s, just like a typical Indian boy, I was in the rut of chasing the entrance examination. Engineer, right? We have to become an engineer without even knowing whether that's what you really want to do. And that's when I had a conversation with a friend of mine who said he's applying to St. Stephen's College for BA honors in economics. And I did not even know what economics was. So I decided, okay, I'm going to try mathematics. Let me also apply with you. Luck had it that I made it, and sadly he didn't. There were a lot of learnings at Stephens. And one learning for me that has stayed with me and changed my life was a very unexpected one. It wasn't maths. It was a sport, right? I got introduced to the sport of ultimate frisbee through an exchange student from the United States who was at Stephens. And trying to see whether the field comes up. Oh, awesome. So ultimate frisbee is played on a rectangular field between two teams of 7 players a side. There are different divisions in the sport. In India, the mixed gender division is one of the most common divisions and the most popular ones. The objective is simple. You see those 2 end zones? You have to catch the disc inside that end zone and score a goal. That's it. But one slight change is that you cannot run with the frisbee, and you have just 10 seconds to make a pass to your teammate. And when you do so, the most beautiful part about ultimate frisbee is essentially this, that it is self-refereed and non-contact in nature. What does this mean? It means there are no referees or umpires with red cards and yellow cards telling you what is right and wrong. It essentially just means this. Every player on the field is a referee. That means you need to learn the rules and you need to administer the rules. If there is a contact between 2 people, because it is a non-contact sport, it is a foul, but it is again up to those 2 people to resolve that conflict and move ahead in the game. So, in this sport, there is something called the spirit of the game, which is what governs the sport. It's a moral framework that ensures the sport is played in a way where self-refereeing is also upheld. This is supported by spirit circles, which happen at the end of each game, where 2 teams come together, sit, have a conversation about how did they play the game. how was it, how did they resolve those conflicts? Any kind of unresolved conflicts, how do you now address it in that circle? Can we go back a little bit? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So in the circle, you first resolve any unresolved conflicts. Then you go on to appreciate each other and also learn and unlearn the mistakes that you made in the game, because we are all humans. Right? And you might really wonder whether this can actually happen. The answer is yes. It is an International Olympic Committee recognized sport, which is played in over 100 countries. Since 2001, it has debuted at the World Games and is a really fast-growing sport. Now, how is this happening is because the World Federation has built certain frameworks for conflict resolution. How do you handle conflict and how do you resolve them at the end? So there's a beautiful framework which is called freeze and be calm. If there is a violation of the rule at any point, you can call it out because you are the referee in this sport. The first step is to freeze. That means if something happened, stay in your position, that's it. If you're involved, you're going to be continuing this conversation. Otherwise, just hold your position. Next is to breathe. A deep breath can calm you down and make a world of difference on how you feel and what you're going to do based on those feelings. The next part is to explain. If you feel somebody fouled you, it is time for you to explain what happened and why is it wrong. And then you consider. You consider the other side's perspective. If somebody fouled you, that person also has a perspective. You listen to that, right? If you are still a little confused that I said something, you said something, then you can raise your hand and ask for a perspective. Where if somebody else had a clear vision and perspective on what happened, they can choose to share objectively what it was. They don't have to say who was right, who was wrong. They just share what they saw. Now you have essentially three perspectives, right? What you said, what you heard from your opponent, and then the perspective that you asked from an observer. Now comes the beautiful part is you listen to all these perspectives. And finally, you make a decision. In Ultimate Frisbee, there are three outcomes from a conflict. The first outcome is when you explain the foul and you know that you have done that mistake, acknowledge it, you accept it, right? Yeah. What would the next step be? It's simple. If that foul did not happen, where would the disc be? And the game restarts from there. The second is after you consider your opponent's perspective, you feel like, oh, maybe this wasn't a foul, or this foul did not affect how the game panned out. Then you can retract, and the game continues. And the third is the most beautiful and my favorite part, which is contest. When you know your perspective and your opponent's perspective are not aligning, you can agree to disagree with respect and go back to the position where there was no conflict, no confusion, and restart the game from there. When you play the game, when you know your perspective is going to be heard, right? You will be respected when you share your perspective. The way we approach conflict resolution is completely different. And in Ultimate Frisbee, at Ultimate Frisbee tournaments, even at the World Championship, the biggest award is not winning the tournament. So they announce the runners-up, the champions, and finally the Spirit Award. The award that goes to the team that has shown exemplary spirit in that entire tournament, and it is indicated through spirit scores, which are rated by teams after each game. So when I started playing, I absolutely fell in love with the sport, right? And I know some of you might have questions in your head, like, can this actually work? So the first thing is that, can this happen at a competitive level, right? Like, this sounds a little weird. The answer is yes. Even at the World Championship, at the World Games, this is exactly how conflict resolution happens. You might think this is a time-consuming process. The rules itself say if there is a breach, in 30 seconds you can have all conversation, and within 45 seconds you restart the game. And with practice, you can definitely do that. And if you feel it is still very utopian, I resonate with you because that is where I was about 8 years back. So the invitation is for you to come and play and experience it for yourself. So when I started playing, I just wanted to make the most of any opportunity that I take to just play. So I kept hunting for different groups I could play with. And one group that caught my attention was a bunch of 15-odd kids from a small village called Zamrudpur in Greater Kailash in South Delhi. And what a fun bunch. They banded together and built a club. And the club, they named it GK Mad. GK because Greater Kailash, and Mad because they were just mad about the game. They were playing Monday to Sunday 2 times a day. And they just came together and reached to a few of us, asked for support to play. And we tried to pull in resources from friends and family, other people who play frisbee. And within 1 year, this team went on to grow phenomenally. They started beating university teams in Delhi NCR at the age of 13 and 14. And as victories compounded, their belief in themselves and each other grew. From being school dropouts, they decided they want to continue education and finish schooling. Went back, enrolled themselves in NIOS to finish schooling. From being involved in juvenile delinquency, now they are role models and mentors for the next generation in the community. When I used to talk to them in 2015 and ask, what do you want to do? Yeah, kar lenge. Kuch bhi. It's fine. From having absolutely no interest in education, to finishing school, enrolling themselves in college, becoming first-generation college goers and graduates, this bunch has come a long way. And these early signs of change inspired us to build a non-profit called Y Ultimate. We essentially use the sport of ultimate frisbee to empower the next generation. And one person that inspires me a lot in this journey is Megha. That's Megha in 2015 when I started playing, 10-year-old, sitting in a spirit circle, super quiet, would never open her mouth. But the moment she would get to play, then you have a wide grin on her face. I couldn't find a photo from 2016. And the laser-focused eyes that, you know what, whatever happens, I'm going to play this point. There's a lot of intensity on that face. Her parents are from Uttarakhand who migrated to Delhi in search of work and livelihood. They settled in a small room in Zamrudpur. Growing up in Zamrudpur has been hard. Growing up as a girl in Zamrudpur has been even a lot more harder. When people have to just turn up to the field to play, for her as a girl, playing with a bunch of boys was a multi-level challenge. You playing as a girl was definitely not a good girl behavior. And you playing with boys was absolute moral misconduct. Right? But obviously for Megha, those challenges were opportunities for her to push her limits, kept working hard. And the discipline and hard work with which she persevered on the field got her selected to the Indian under-24 team in 2018 that was going to the Australia for the World Under-24 Championship. However, she was too young at that time to be in a national squad, so she just trained with the team and didn't make it to the final tournament. In 2019, she got selected to the Asian Oceanic Grass team. This is a picture of her after the tournament in Shanghai, where India finished third. The best position an Indian national team has had on international ultimate frisbee stage. In 2020, At the age of 16, she got selected to captain the Indian under-20 women's team in Sweden. However, you know what happened in 2020. COVID came, and the tournament got washed out. But now, in 2024, she's currently selected to the Indian national team once again to play at the World Ultimate Championship later this year. So, to give you context, World Ultimate Championship is very simply the World Cup of Ultimate Frisbee. Happens once in 4 years, and it doesn't get bigger than this. And life for Megha hasn't been just ultimate. The learning she has had on the field, she has translated to her own life, pushing herself to work extremely hard in her academics, finishing school. And then comes the fun part. After she finished school, she had this dream. She wanted to go to college. And she was told, Megha, great, you can do college, but don't take the course which is in English. It will be difficult for you to manage, you know, right? So if you have followed Megha's story till now, you should know what happens next. She exactly did that. Went up, took up a course in English, that too on English. So right now, she's in a second year of BA English Honours at Miranda House in Delhi University. And at the same time, she is captaining the club team she co-founded, GK Mad. Last year, she led us to our first national championship. No, it's not a fairy tale. We finished second. We lost the finals. But that was our debut, and we ranked second in the country. And for me, Megha is that kid that inspired me. But for the next generation of children that we work with, Megha is Megha Didi, that sister, that elder sister that children in the community look up to and aspire to be. And when they know they have somebody they can really look up to and grow up to, that makes a huge difference in their lives. Of course, Megha is an exceptional individual, but Megha is not alone. The first set of 15-odd kids that started in Zamrudpur 8.5 years back, 13 of them continue with us even today, associated with our nonprofit, directly working and coaching the next generation. While they coach, they get a stipend that empowers them to fuel their aspiration and their college education, and Megha funds her own education. And along with Megha, the most beautiful part is we have 5 more in the Indian national team right now. They're all training for the World Championship later this year in Gold Coast. And all of them face adversity and challenges every single day and really, really work hard to overcome it, and sometimes fall short, right? But they make one active choice, an active choice to pass ahead something, to support the next generation, mentor them. Whatever learnings that they had, how do you pass that on? In a world where fouling an opponent so that you prevent a score, a goal, or diving so that you get a penalty, or being fouled out is perceived as taking one for the team, how would it be if we have the next generation that can accept a mistake, or when they know they are wrong, just pull back and retract, or if they cannot agree, still respectfully agree to disagree, right? And do all this with respectful communication at the core. And I would like to end with something that GK Mad family has taught me, is that all of us, we get access to a lot of things. The world gives us a lot. The people that we meet, the opportunities that we get. And what we do with it is a choice, irrespective of whatever happens with you. And you can choose to make a difference. And it doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be something as simple as just passing a frisbee, right? And if you're wondering, Megha is a story of Figment. No, Megha is sitting right there. Thank you for joining and allowing me to share your journey with the world. So I have just one question to all of you. When you have life ahead and the choices that you make, what would you be passing ahead? For me, it's a frisbee. Megha, do you want to get? Go for it. Thank you.